Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I've meant to do this video for the past few weeks, but I am a mother before I'm anything else, and that means that my daughter comes first always. So I have had to put off making this video for a little while now, but now it is time. This is admittedly the first video that I should have put up before I put up any of my other MLM videos, just because there are a lot of things that people just don't know about MLMs, including what the hell an MLM even is and what it stands for. So I figured that I would just do this video now. I mean, better late than never, right? I am going to be answering some of your guys' questions that I asked you guys to ask me on Twitter for this video. And I have all those questions written down here in my handy dandy notebook. Now, because MLM has such a negative connotation attached to it, you will oftentimes see people who are presenters for these brands I will be discussing in future videos. You will oftentimes see them trying to call it like network marketing, referral marketing, like something other than just multi-level or pyramid marketing, which is another name for these things. But MLM itself stands for multi-level marketing. Alright, so the next question is, why do the tactics represent that of Scientology? Is it because MLMs are all cults of their own? This question is kind of a hard one to answer because unfortunately there is not a definitive yes or no answer. This is one of those things that it's number one, when you talk about Scientology or any like religion for that matter, you attract a lot of unwanted attention. A lot. But to answer your question, if you were to make a list of, let's say, the characteristics of an MLM presenter and put it up next to a list of the characteristics of a Scientologist, you will find very quickly that there are more similarities than there are differences. The biggest similarity between both of these things is that there is very much a cult-like mentality when it comes to these two things. For example, you aren't just selling a product or a service, you are helping people change their lives. And if you know anything about these MLMs, I've pointed this out with especially Unique, the number one thing they push, no matter what, is you changing your life by joining these people's teams and joining this brand. But if it's a yes or no answer you're looking for, are MLMs kind of cult-like? Yes, they are. All right, the next question is, what is the legal status of MLMs? Technically, they are legal. And it's not so much the brands themselves that are illegal, it's their practices that make shit illegal. I'm going to insert a few clips from the FTC website, the official website for the FTC, and that will explain a little bit further all the legalities and things like that that go along with MLMs and warnings and things like that. I think it'll be very eye-opening for you, so if you wish to take a look and pause to read, go ahead, it's right here. And then the other question that was attached to that last one is, are these brands present on Wall Street? Young Living is privately owned, so if any of these brands are privately owned, you will not find them on Wall Street. Wall Street is more for brands that are obviously publicly owned. So brands like Avon, the ticker symbol for Avon is AVP. Coty actually owns Unique. They own 60% of Unique. The remaining 40% still lays with the founders. I will have more in-depth information on all the logistics and things like that in future videos with each of the brands that I'm talking about. As far as these brands being present on Wall Street, not many of them are. This next question kind of made me laugh. Why do they use so many emojis? The long and short of this is basically to grab attention. You know what I mean? Because they think if you use an insane amount of emojis, you're going to grab someone's attention. When in reality, it would deter me. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but it would absolutely deter me from even looking at that post. But whatever. Alright, so this question is more about me and the future of these videos. Will I be focusing only on beauty MLMs? My main focus is on the beauty one, since that's what I'm knowledgeable about. But I plan on just very briefly touching on the other brands. So like Young Living is one that everyone's interested in. LuLaRoe is a big one that I'm pretty sure they're done for anyways. So I may not talk about them since they're pretty much done, but other brands like Melaleuca was another big one that I was requested to talk about. Herbalife, obviously. There was this big documentary, I think it was on Netflix or Hulu, I forget which one it was, but there is a big documentary about Herbalife. So I will be touching on other brands and other products and things like that, but I'm going to try to make those as short as possible just because those aren't my main focus. All right, the next question is, do you feel that MLM reps actually impede on legitimate small businesses even though they use a small business guilt trip to try and sell their products? Yes, absolutely I do. It especially burns my lady balls when I see these people at craft shows, because I love going to craft shows. I love buying homemade and handmade products like teddy bears, especially for the baby. I love getting like these really pretty intricately made bears and clothes and things like that. I love supporting small businesses. It's very important. And actually, living in the North Country where I was living previously, there are a lot of small business owners in that area, and they craft scarves and hats and things like that. And so I would love going to these craft fairs, but I would hate, absolutely hate, seeing these representatives from brands like Unique and Young Living. Scentsy was a huge one where I was living. As much as you may want your potential customers to believe that you are a small business owner and that this Unique business and that this Young Living business and this Scentsy business is all yours because you started it, and as much as the brands themselves want you to believe that you actually own this brand, you do not. You did not start this business. You did not create these products to sell. You are not a small business owner. I am sorry. I'm going to piss in everyone's Cheerios by saying this if you're a presenter. But the reality is you are not a small business owner when you pay $99 or $100 or whatever X amount of money you pay to opt into a program to get products that have already been produced for you to sell in your own little space. You are not a small business owner. And so it takes away, when I see these people at these craft fairs or wherever else, I've even seen them at book fairs too, it takes away from true small business owners who would love to have that spot to purchase so they could sell their own products. But with e-commerce now becoming such a huge thing, websites like Etsy and things like that, even Twitter, Pinterest is another big one, I can see why more people want to stay in the e-commerce realm as far as selling when it comes to small businesses. But nothing truly beats being out there in public and selling your product and having people actually test it out in person. So the short answer is this: yes, they do impede on them, and it absolutely pisses me off. And I don't understand why these events don't ban brands like that from showing up and stealing spots from other real small business owners. But that's just me. The next question, are there any good MLM brands? All right, so I wouldn't say that they are good. They have their fair share of shady shit to talk about, which I will talk about in their individual videos. But the big three, which is Avon, Mary Kay, and Tupperware, have been around for a very, very long time. For example, Avon is the oldest MLM brand. They were founded in 1886, and they actually started off as a perfume company. Now, I'm fairly certain, and this includes myself, we all know someone in our family, and it's mostly the older generations in our family who have that one product they swear by when it comes to Avon. For my abuelita Clary, she is in love, and to this day, she still uses Skin So Soft from Avon. Tupperware was founded in 1946, and Mary Kay was founded in 1963. So these three brands have pretty much transcended throughout the years. They've grown and been around for all the trends, and they've lasted for this long. So you have to wonder, if these brands really are that good, or if they're just lucky because they have people grandfathered into their programs who have found products in their brands that they swear by year in and year out. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I wouldn't say they're exactly good because there are some shady things. But when it comes down to it, these brands have lasted for a very, very long time, and it is for good reason. As a matter of fact, we've seen brands like Avon especially cross over into the mainstream in movies like Edward Scissorhands.
Avon calls report you just here.
No, not since last season. Today I've come to show you our exquisite new line of softer colors in shadows, blushes, and lipstick. Everything you need to accent and highlight your changing look.
Tupperware, or a variation of Tupperware, made an appearance in American Horror Story, even though that is not for young people to be watching. But it's also made a quick appearance in movies like Napoleon Dynamite when Uncle Rico sold it for a very short time until he moved on to breast enhancement pills.
These are some serious Nupont fiber woven bowls.
So if we purchase the 24-piece set, the mini sailboat is included?
That's correct, sir.
Now, I want to speak to my target audience, which is people who are perhaps doing their research before joining an MLM brand, which I am so glad you are doing, because there are some people who just don't think to do the research into these brands, and they buy into them and they end up losing so much money to these brands because it doesn't work out for them. The number one thing I suggest doing if you are interested in becoming a representative of any of these brands, and I mean any of them, is to do your research on the brand, on the product, on the history of the brand. Look into the numbers aspect, the success rates of the brand. If you are looking for someone to tell you whether or not you should join these brands, here is your sign to not do it. Now, if unfortunately me saying don't do it is not good enough for you and you are still kind of interested, like morbidly curious about joining an MLM brand, please, like I just said, do your research. Look into every aspect of the brand. Now, my last little shout out is to fellow single stay-at-home moms, military parents, whatever the case may be. We are the target audience when it comes to who these brands want these presenters to go after and recruit to their teams. And with that being said, nothing burns my lady balls to a charry crisp more than seeing these idiotic, disturbing, disgusting, disrespectful as fuck posts in which these dinguses will sit there and shame us for working a 9-to-5 job instead of being a stay-at-home parent and being at home with our kids every single day. As a parent myself to a now 5-month-old, there is nothing on this earth that I would love more than to be able to stay at home with my daughter, and luckily I'm allowed to do that with the job that I do have. But for most parents, unfortunately, things like what I do are not an available option for them, and staying at home is not an option for them as well. There is nothing wrong with you keeping food on the table, clothes on your children's backs, a roof over their head. It doesn't matter how you choose to do it. But what is wrong is when these idiots sit there and shame you, dare to shame you for being a parent, a responsible parent, and going out and making money to keep your kids fed, clothed, and sheltered. Mind you, these miserable fucks are saying all these things to you so that you quit your job, join their team to make them money. They won't tell you that. But oh yes, when you join their teams, especially brands like Unique and things like that, when you join their teams, they make money. So the only reason they're even paying attention to you at this point is because they're going to make money off of you if they can convince you to join their team. Otherwise, they would not give a single solitary fuck about what you're doing with your life or your kids. Anyways, guys, that is all for today's video. Like I said earlier, this should have been the very first video I put up on my channel when I started to talk about MLM brands, but alas, I did not make this my first video. Hopefully this clarifies a few things for you guys. If there are any more questions you'd like me to answer, leave them down below, as well as any comments about anything discussed in today's video. But until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. I love you guys so much. Bye.